Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Motivational Enhancement. This is Unit 1, Group 6, and we are still working out of the Quickstart Guide for Recovery from Addiction and Co-occurring Disorders by Dr. Dawn-Elise Snipes. In the last few videos, you have talked about physical motivation, how recovery is going to make you feel physically better, get more sleep, be healthier. Affective motivation, how recovery is going to make you happier. Cognitive motivation, how it logically makes sense that recovery is going to help you be the person you want to be. Now we're going to talk about environmental motivation, and this is a biggie actually, because you want to look at what is going on in your environment that is going to motivate you for recovery, and what is going on in your environment that might trigger cravings or desire for use. Environmental motivation involves things in the environment that support a recovery lifestyle or trigger cravings or old feelings and behaviors. So take 20 minutes or so at looking around at what sights, sounds, and smells in your environment at home and at work and when you are commuting trigger your desire to use, trigger cravings for you. That's going to be really important to look around not only at home, but also when you're commuting. So, maybe you drive by your dealer's place or wherever it is that's triggering for you, or you sit on the bus next to people who you used to use with, that can be a trigger. And then also looking at work, about things at work that may be triggering for you. Recognizing the sights, sounds, and smells that may trigger a craving for you. Then spend another 20 minutes or so thinking about the sights, sounds, and smells that trigger depression, anxiety, anger, or irritability in you. Remembering that unpleasant emotions can often trigger cravings and addiction relapse or lead that way. So it's important to recognize if there is a particular smell that reminds you of somebody, that brings up a time in your past where you were just enraged. That may trigger that feeling in you. If there are sounds going on. I am one who I get startled easily. So when there's a lot of noise, especially a lot of sudden noise and clattering, it stresses me out. I recognize that in my environment, it's important for me to have, keep it down to a low roar, because those sudden sounds trigger my fight or flight response and trigger my anxiety. That may not be true for you, but recognizing those sorts of things. I also recognize in my environment that when there are really strong smells, whether it's cleaners or perfumes or something else, and I mean really, really strong, it often triggers a headache and makes it difficult for me to concentrate on what I'm doing, which can put me in a bad mood. I need to recognize that, because I need to recognize how my environment is impacting me and my happiness. Because what we're hoping is that in recovery, you are going to find health and happiness. The next thing I want you to do is a little more fun. Spend 20 more minutes identifying ways to change your environment at home, when you commute, and at work, if possible, in order to support a recovery lifestyle, in order to make you happy. What things can you put in your environment that are going to actually make you happy, make you smile? What things can you put in your environment, or how can you alter your environment to reduce pain? Think about ergonomics. Get a good pillow, get a good mattress, get a good chair that you're sitting in. All of those things can help. But lighting is important, and we're going to talk about all those things in other units. But thinking about ways you can create the healthiest, most happy supporting environment possible is going to be a big step towards your recovery lifestyle. Another thing that you want to add to your environment are sites mainly that remind you to do your recovery activities, whether it's mindfulness exercises or going to meetings or meditation or exercise, whatever it is that is important in your recovery, you need things in your environment that remind you to do them. You can schedule push notifications to go to your mobile device that can help you remember those things. You can put them in your Outlook calendar if you have Outlook at work to remind you to take a 5-minute break to do a mindfulness activity or something. Whatever it is that you need to do to remind you. You may wear a bracelet that reminds you to focus on putting one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Think about what you can do. At my house, I have a little corner where I have a tapestry with the Serenity Prayer on it, and I have a little chair there, and that is my reading, calming, meditation sort of corner. And that's where I go to relax. And that reminds me, it's like plumb in the middle of the living room. Whenever I see that, it reminds me that that's the place that I can go to, catch my breath. Next, spend 10 minutes thinking about how having a healthy environment will just help you feel better physically and emotionally. If you have an environment that has, full spectrum lights, that doesn't have flickering fluorescence, that doesn't stink, that is relatively organized, that has positive people in it, that has memories and positive images in it, how will that make you feel better? And you may not even know. Maybe you've never been in an environment like that. I encourage you to take one room in your house. It doesn't have to be the whole house. One room, and make it yours. Make it your recovery room where it has pictures on the wall. And they don't have to be framed. Frames can be expensive, but you can get them for pretty cheap at Goodwill. But just put posters and stuff on the wall that remind you of things that make you happy. Have a collage of different videos and pictures and things that make you happy on your mobile device, so you can always get a visual pick-me-up at any point in time. Add smells that make you happy. Add sounds that make you happy, whether it's a white noise machine or even just getting some noise-canceling headphones so you don't have to hear anything. What is it that you can do in your environment in order to make it as pleasant and happy for you as possible? Finally, think about ways that your environment and people and things in your environment have triggered relapses in the past. Make sure you address any of those that you can think of so they don't trigger relapses again. Identify things in your environment, sight, sounds, and smells that triggered your depression. You already did that, the first part of this activity. And make sure you know how you're going to deal with that. And review one more time just to make sure that you've got it. Anything in your environment that may cause you pain, and address that. And a lot of that goes to ergonomics, making sure that you have a good chair, a good bed. You're not, when you're watching TV, you're not all kinked up and getting a kink in your neck, and making sure that the lighting is adequate to prevent you from getting headaches. Those are big ones, in order to help you be as healthy, happy, and relaxed as possible.